One. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Retail Shenanigans. This is episode 19, guys. We are slowly getting there, slowly chugging along, little engine that could style. Tonight is going to be really fun. I've got a longtime friend on the show. I've known her all through high school pretty much, and from what I can tell, she's got some awesome stories that she's going to want to tell us today. So, Tiff, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you?
We're good here. We're just like I said, just getting the show rolling, trying to expand it as best we can, get anyone on, and definitely grateful to finally have you on.
Thanks. I know it was like phone tag for a while.
Oh my God! For anyone listening, just to give you a little blurb on it, it was since like I would say about the second week, I've been trying to get her on because I know she's got some awesome stories, and it was oh yeah, this date works, and then the next day it was like oh I forgot I worked that day, or one of us had to work later or something. Totally okay, but I'm just glad we finally got everything rolling here.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Um, so I guess we're going to go ahead and get started here. And the first question I really have for you, how long have you worked in retail? And by retail, I mean, whether it's food service, grocery store, a convenience store, restaurant, even being like server, things of that. I consider all of that under the whole retail umbrella. So how long have you been in the business?
Oh, geez, probably like 10 or 11 years now.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, you're
I'm
wrong, honestly.
I'm right there with you. I know well, yeah, 12 years because I started when I was 16 at Turkey Hill, and I was there for like 5, 6 years. So
hmm
yeah, that's essentially all I've done is retail. So yeah,
It's too long
it's
to deal with the general public, in my opinion.
oh my God. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I feel it should be a requirement that everybody needs to work a retail job or something with the public for at least 1 year of their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there are too many people out there that don't, and they just feel so fucking like.
Entitled.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the fucking word. Ah, I just want to yell at some people.
I did have to yell at someone the other day.
Oh my God. Okay, we will get to that. So, so with your 10, 11 years of experience, think back. What was your first retail job?
I worked at Maple Donuts
Okay.
when I was like 17.
Okay. Now, at Maple Donuts, were you just like a cashier? Were you a baker? What? Or did you kind of do a mix of everything?
So in there, you sell donuts out of the case to people that like walk through the door, but then we also had a drive-through, and we also had like people that would come in and sit around like kind of like a bar inside that you would wait on those people too. So you just kind of skipped around depending on who was waiting.
Was this the one over on 30?
Route 30, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I had definitely been to that one a couple times. The bar area is usually littered with older people sitting reading the paper, drinking coffee.
Oh yeah, yeah, a bunch of creepy old men. Yeah.
See, and that was the next thing I was going to say. I didn't want to assume, but I figured most of them were like those creepy old nasty men.
Oh yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah. All the time.
so if you had to rate it, so let's just say typical day you went in there. If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most likely, and obviously one being least likely, how likely were you to get either creeped out or hit on while you were there?
Oh, like a 9.
So like almost guaranteed.
Oh yeah, there was like this one guy that came in, and he was one of those that was there like almost every day, and you could get like tipped.
Right.
I mean, people didn't do it all the time, but he would always take whatever change he had left and like push it off the counter on my side, like onto the floor, so I had to bend over and pick it up.
Wow.
Yeah, complete asshole.
So I mean, I'm trying to think of the best way how to put this. So A, he was tipping, which is cool, but B, he was giving you his leftover fucking change, and C, he was making you bend over so he can look at your ass while you did it.
Pretty much, yeah, and it was always like 50 cents. I was like, this is not even worth my fucking time right now.
See, if I was you, I would have just looked back and it was like, was it worth it? Was it worth the 50 cents? Like, really? Like, you son of a bitch. I hate people.
Like, seriously, I made better money stripping than this. What the fuck?
Fantastic. So, after Maple Donuts, what did you do?
Then I worked at, let me think, the shoe department, I think it was. at
Okay.
the West Manchester Mall.
Okay. So again, there was it just kind of like a general kind of like
Well,
cashier help
you got
people.
like well, there was cashiering, but then also like we got commissions if we got people to buy shoes. So like we would walk around on the floor and like talk to people, figure out what they wanted that day or whatever, help them find shoes. We kept most of the left shoes in the back so that they
Right.
didn't steal them. So we'd have to go get those, and we'd offer to take them up to the counter for people and get the shoes a while they were still shopping, because then they're more likely to pick stuff up or whatever. So
Right.
yeah, it was a lot of walking around and a lot of like dealing with people.
No, most definitely. There was a lot of companies do that where they want their employees on the floor walking with their customers, and they want them to like put their number or whatever with the sale.
Hmm.
I know with like with Gander and even at FYE, if you wanted credit for the sale, you had to make sure your number got put on it. And if there was any kind of commission with it, if your number didn't get put on it and whoever was ringing them up did, then they just got all your money.
Hmm.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh yeah, I got called a racist at that job, so that was fun.
Oh, care to elaborate?
Yeah, so I think it was like Black Friday weekend, so we were like completely swamped anyway. But I mean, it's part of our training is to like, hey, if you want me to take your shoes up to the front and get the other one a while, that way you don't have to carry the box around with you,
Right.
because then they're more likely to pick up another pair anyway if their hands are empty.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went up to this older African American gentleman and was like, hey, would you like me to go get the other shoe for you a while? Because if you carried it up to the counter, you got your number put on it.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, sure. Waited till I got like halfway across the store from him, and he goes, oh, is it because I'm black? Because you think I'm gonna steal it? And blah 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 blah. And I was just standing there like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Right now? What? And I thought about looking at him and being like, why did you pull that card out? It's because I'm a little white girl. Think you're gonna scare me? Jeez.
You might be a little white girl, but you got a big ass attitude.
I was like, Jesus. And thankfully my manager was there, and she was like, okay, sir, you can either like calm down or leave. And then he called corporate, and corporate was like, that's policy. We do that like with everyone. I don't know what the hell. He like was trying real hard. He tried real hard.
That's ridiculous. Just because you when and the
Out
thing
of
is
his
that
way.
like yeah, like people are it's mind-boggling the fact like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the degree people will take something to, just because
Oh
they
yeah.
feel you've inconvenienced or wronged them. Like there was no, I'm sure there was in that situation there was no like instance or like there was no like hinting that you were trying to be racist. You were just literally trying to a not only get your credit for a sale, but b also get him to buy more shit. Like
Exactly.
I fucking hate people, man. I mean, I don't.
Oh yeah.
I love people, but I fucking hate people at the same time.
Oh, I know. People are freaking ridiculous.
So,
They're freaking insane.
with the 12 years, what are you currently doing? If I remember correctly, I know you're I'm not I don't want to misspeak, but are you like a Walgreens or something?
I work at a grocery store in
That's what
North
it is.
Carolina
Okay.
called it's called Piggly Wiggly.
Okay. So that's funny. I've never been to one, but I have heard that name before, and I always thought it was a made up company.
Oh no.
But
Oh no,
so
it's real.
oh jeez. So would you compare it to like anything that we're from? Would you like up in Pennsylvania? Yeah, Pennsylvania. Jeez, I'm
It's
fucking starting to
probably
talk like
closer
Texas.
to like a Wise Market, or
Okay.
like it has more of a mom and pop feel than like a big box store.
Okay, so not quite a giant.
No.
Okay.
Um it's definitely I'll put it this way: when people bring their groceries up to the counter for us to check them out, we have to physically take everything out of their cart. There's no belt.
Oh.
Scan it, bag it, and put it back in their cart. Like there's no belt on either side. Like
Oh
if you
Jesus.
get like if you get like a giant cart, you can call for a service clerk to come bag for you, but that's about as like bougie as we get there. And one of the plus sides though is like we get all our meat like completely fresh. Like we get like whole pigs and like whatever, and
Right.
it's butchered. There's like an actual butcher in the back of the store, so like people will travel for like an hour out of their way to come and like get meat because it's fresh, and like the butcher's back there will cut stuff the way that you want it before you
Fucking
buy it or
right.
whatever. So it's really cool. That part's really cool.
Hell yeah. The only time And not to, again, I always apologize when I have my guests on to put too much of my personal input on it, but the only time I've ever had meat that fresh is when I was in Germany. One of my host parents, his uncle or whatever, was having a birthday. It was like, I don't know, he was turning like 70 or 80. So they actually killed a pig that morning, and then they
Oh
roasted
wow.
it all fucking day. So like
Yeah, I think there's been like 3 or 4 times people have come in and they come up to the front and their cart just has like a whole ass pig in it.
there's
And
a
I'm
whole.
like, how am I supposed to like?
Is there a button
Thankfully,
for
they
that?
just no. I'm like, thankfully they just have like a piece of paper that they put the like price tag on for me to scan. I'm like, how the fuck? I'm like, do you need help out to your car with this? Like, I bet you do.
Right, it's probably not going to be you, but somebody's going to help you.
Yeah, just a whole ass pig.
Oh, Jesus. That's fucking hilarious. I mean, and that's got to be like. Granted, I know now you're probably used to it, but the first, couple times that's happened, you had to do a
The first
couple.
time they came up, like I looked over at the cart and like literally was like, what the? Okay, all right.
I can only
Like people
imagine.
buy pig heads,
Right.
just the head.
Okay. Now, do
So
they
the
do
freaking
like?
head gets slapped on the counter, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it's staring into my soul.
Do you get like the people who buy the pig's feet and stuff too?
Oh my God, so much.
Oh my God. Have you ever had
Pig
pickled pig's
feet,
feet?
hell no.
Oh, it's so good.
Everyone's like, oh, you need to try it, and they get buy like chicken feet. They have like
Mm-hmm.
giant jar. They look like giant pickle
Yep.
jars, but they have like pig feet in them. And I'm like, Jesus, why are they pink? For like, why is the liquid red? First of all.
Because they dump all the blood and everything in it with it too to get that extra, the extra gory flavor in it.
Oh God. Although I will say one thing to anybody that listens to these podcasts, and it's that if you go to a store that has a butcher that will go out of their way and like cut things the way that you want them and
Mhm.
like do special shit like that for you, make sure you're tipping them.
Yeah.
Because like not many places do that anymore.
No.
And the places that do, I mean, like I was talking, like I give mad props to the guys back in our meat department at my store because like if it wasn't for them being so cool, um, I would have been screwed when this whole quarantine thing started. But thankfully, like I've been cool with everybody, so I've been like, hey, we need this, we
Right.
need that. Can you like keep it back when the truck gets in? Because like our entire meat case was completely empty for a while. And I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
when the truck comes in, can you like hold this back, hold that back? And they've been really great about, yeah, it's fine. I'll keep it in the fridge. We won't even put it out. Like just come pick it up or whatever. So like thankfully we haven't suffered because of it. And I like made them cookies and sent them in and stuff and was like, thank you guys so much, whatever. But like I just think it's a little fucked up that like people don't think of that anymore. Like you tip your
Yeah.
hairstylist, you tip like your nail person, whatever. Like this person's doing like a service, like a specialized service for you. So like tip your butchers.
No, 100%. And that's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And, it'd be awesome, if you have whether, if you agree or disagree. But I think with all this going on, I think this would be the perfect time to bring back butchers and local butcher shops.
Oh,
Because,
absolutely.
I mean, granted, I know that I don't know, but I've read that, there's like Tyson chicken factories that are closing because, of the corona, and that
Oh
they're
yeah.
expected meat shortages or whatever. But if you have local like butcher shops, like down here in Texas, we have just in my direct area, I can go and like find as close to a butcher shop as I can. Like there's a whole bunch of like Spanish family owned meat shops that are just, they've kept it in the family, and you could tell if it wasn't done that day, it was done pretty recently. Like that's how they have their meat
Oh
there.
yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. But I think that's something I think we should try to push in the country a little bit more. There's so much
Oh yeah.
processed shit out there. Like how awesome would it be to, maybe not every town, but like just start bringing it back where you could go and really, like you said, see and know where your meat's coming from, and to be able to give that appreciation to the butcher. And just like you said with your salon, your hairstylist, or your person who does your nails, give them a tip, let them know that they're appreciated.
Oh yeah. And like I was talking to some of them the other day because like I mean this has really kicked their ass.
Right.
Like
Oh,
they've
I bet
been
they're
working
working
like
nonstop.
so much and like to the point that like the one day they were like we're really short-handed blah 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 and I was like well I'll come back for like a shift or two if you need like extra hands or whatever and I actually did go back and work with them like it's tough.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a refrigerated room, so that's not comfortable to begin with. But then on top of it, you're getting like all this blood all over you because you're like repackaging everything and cutting
Hmm.
stuff, and it's a lot of work. And I was talking to the one guy, and I was like, man, I mean, you guys really like bust your ass. And he was like, yeah, I know. And I have my regulars that come in on a regular basis, and they give me like tips and stuff, and that's really appreciated. And I was talking to one of my regulars the other day, and he was saying, I don't understand why people don't take care of you guys more, because you guys are here doing like us a favor
Hmm.
by like customizing stuff the way that we want it, and like making sure stuff's fresh, and making the cases nice. So like I don't understand why people don't think of that. And I agree. I think it's a really good service they're doing for people, because I want pork chops. I want 6 pork chops, and I want them to be like an inch thick, and it's like perfectly like cut and ready for you to
Yeah.
go. Like,
Hell yeah. No, and again, I just think it's one of those it's just one of those dying industries that people just want things churned out so fast, and it's a lost art form. But you can definitely tell the difference between, oh, I'm gonna go buy a 10 pack pork chop from Walmart, or as you say, I'll go to where you work over at Piggly Wiggly. Shout out to Piggly Wiggly, who cuts their
mm-hmm.
meat, and get a nice thick cut pork chop where not only do you know that you saw the animal, you saw them cut it, and now it's literally going from their hands to your table.
Oh yeah, they get like whole like halves of beef, and they like
Beautiful.
cut it down, take all the different parts, like package them, put them out, like it's all like completely fresh. They get it, say it's a Tuesday morning, they get a truck. By
Hmm.
Tuesday afternoon, it's all cut, it's all packaged, it's all put out, like it's all fresh, it's never frozen,
That's
which is
beautiful.
amazing.
Fucking right. I mean, granted, there are like a lot of my meats I get from Costco and Sam's Club, and they do
Yeah.
kind of have a butcher back there where they kind of separate some things, but nowhere near to what you're talking about. So I definitely want to, just from hearing that, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to any people listening. If you live near Piggly Wiggly, please go give them a shot, because it sounds like they're really, trying to do right by their people and by their customers. So
And tip your butchers, damn it.
tip your butchers, 100%. So I think that'll really be a good way to enter the next part of our next question here, which is really, so with all of your experience, the 10, 11 years that you have, and the different jobs that you've had in retail, what would you say that you would put as your best memory? Something that you would rank top tier
um well, shit, I got like a $50 tip the one day,
at Piggly Wiggly.
so that was really cool. No, not at Piggly Wiggly. I think that one was at Wise Market, actually.
Okay.
There's this really old lady, and she came through, and we closed at 10 o'clock,
All right.
and it was like 9:50, and she comes up to my register, because I was the only one that worked nights at the register. There was just self scan and my register, and she came through, and you could tell like her cart was like overflowing, and I was like, there is no way I'm getting out of here on time. But there's no way,
Right.
like there was a cart overflowing or whatever. But she had her, like, I think he was autistic.
Okay.
Don't quote me. But her autistic, like, adult son with her. So I was like, it's whatever. I understand. Like, you don't want to be here when a whole bunch of people are here or whatever.
Right.
It's cool. Um, so I finally get through ringing everything up and whatever. And she realizes that she left her card in the car and sends her son out to look for it. So her son's gone for like 20 minutes. We're just standing there, and she's like apologizing so bad. And I'm like, it's really not a big deal.
Right.
I've been there. Shit happens. Like,
Hmm.
everyone has a bad day occasionally or whatever. I mean, I guess most people probably would have been like, come on, lady, I want to get the fuck out of here, blah, blah, blah. And I
Right.
was like, you know what? Like, she was just so stressed out and so, like, whatever. So when he finally came back in and she paid for her groceries, I was like, well, I'm leaving anyway. So let me come with you, and I'll, like, help you load your car quick, because I'm leaving anyway. So I
Right.
clocked out and went outside and whatever. And she gave me a $50 tip at the end. And she was, like, crying. She's like, that was the best customer service I've had in a long time. I know that it was inconvenient and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I was like, it really wasn't a big deal.
Right.
Like, everyone has a bad day. The least I
Hmm.
could do is, like, help you out to your car with your stuff, because you're stressed out enough. And she was probably in her 80s.
Right. So you
And I knew her son wasn't going to be, like, a lot of help.
right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, people are so taken back by people being decent human beings. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it
Like,
costs $0 not to be an asshole.
right, right. 100% $0 for me to, you know, for me to treat you like a decent human being. I was actually just talking in my previous podcast, I was talking to my guest about how when people see you in a badge and a uniform, they think you're not, that's all you are, that they don't, that you don't have a life
Oh
outside.
yeah.
Like you don't have a job outside. Like, excuse me, you're going to cuss me out, you're going to threaten to fight me, that you're going to come back here and fight me when I get off the clock. Like, this shirt and this name badge can come off at any time.
Oh yeah.
Anytime.
Oh yeah.
And the
And
fact
it's
that,
like,
go ahead.
we're all trying to make a decent living. We're all trying to like get by or whatever and provide for our families and whatever. And like whatever job that you have makes you no better or worse than anybody else because you're just out there trying to make shit happen for yourself. So I just try and go by the whole you don't have any idea what's going on in someone else's life. So when someone comes off super prickly
Mm-hmm.
or acting like a complete asshole towards me at work, I kind of do the whole kill them with kindness. Like, well, I'm very sorry that you seem to be having such a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what I can do to try and make it a little better for you. Like I don't know what's going on right now in your life that's making you act like that, but like it's probably has nothing to do with me.
Right. And it's really easy
And
to,
usually once I pull that out, they kind of take a step back and look at me like, oh. And they're
right.
usually kind of quick to calm down after that, where I'm like, I'm sorry, it seems like you're having a really bad day. So let me see if I can make it a little better for you. If you could just calmly explain to me what your problem is.
Right, instead of screaming at me. I definitely, I
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely.
I definitely think it's easy, especially with when you've worked retail as long as you and I have. It's very easy to get jaded,
Hmm.
and it's easy to just, anytime a customer is like that, that you just super quick to write them off, or that you just want to bitch, moan, and complain about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Which don't get me wrong, I am not perfect. I 100%, as much as I love people and I love working in a people environment, there are people, and there's times where I'm just like, come on, motherfucker, leave the store so I can vent
Oh,
about
yeah.
you and and feel better. But it's
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
refreshing to get someone's take on it who's definitely been in the retail business a long time, to be able to still have that attitude of, again, you don't know what else is going on in their life that's causing them to be a total asshole. But on the opposite side of that, there are people that they just want to be a cunt to everybody, and that's all they're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
100%. So,
That's like, there's this one customer at my work right now. He's an older man,
hmm,
very like frail, old veteran,
okay.
like fine. Nobody else wants to talk to him. Nobody else ever wants to wait on him. And it's funny to me because he only ever comes through my line if he sees that I'm working, and I don't have a single problem with him. Like he
Right.
calls me Pooh Bear.
Aw.
Every time he sees me, like, hey, Pooh Bear. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? Like, just talk to them, make conversation, and treat them like a fucking human being. And most of
Right.
the time, they're perfectly nice people. There's a couple customers like that everyone's like, they're an asshole. And I'm like, they've always been super nice to me.
Yeah. And
Like,
that's
treat them nicely.
100%. And I think that can be said the flip side too for even coworkers. There are jobs I went into where there were people who they just didn't get along with somebody and like think they're just, oh, well, there's just a prick, or, they're a bitch or whatever. But as long as you go in with a good attitude, like just because somebody might have said something
Hmm.
that pissed you off in the moment, that it could have been taken the wrong way, get the fuck over it. You see these people more than your family sometimes, so you got to try to have some kind of semblance of getting along, because if
Well,
not,
and
you're just
that's
going to hate
actually,
yourself.
oh, yeah, that's actually a funny story because there was a girl that just started there, like, not too long ago. And
Uh-huh.
a fun fact, my sister works there, too.
Okay.
She works up in the office. I'm just a cashier. She works up in the actual like office doing like Western Unions and shit.
All right.
And she is actually technically like our supervisor.
Gotcha.
So freaking this girl, I guess, had no idea that we were related.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister is very much like, these are the rules and this is what. She's a very type A personality where she's like, this is the rule. This is what we're going to do. We're going to follow the rule and like whatever. I'm not going to let you slack off just because you want to be my friend or whatever.
Right.
So this girl constantly was like slacking off and like she would be on her phone on FaceTime at the register and shit, like just like outlandish shit. And
Right.
like my sister chewed her out. And I was like, I mean, she's not wrong.
Right.
Like, she's gotten in my ass before, and, like, I can't really fault her for it, because if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, then that's her job. So,
100%.
whatever. Freaking. And then she came over to my register the one day after Delaney had, like, said something to her, and she was just like, she's a fucking bitch, and blah, 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 and started to go off. And I just stood there, and I was like, I was just standing there, like, staring straight ahead, like,
Uh-huh.
uh-huh. And then later that night, Delaney was like, what was that look on your face for when so-and-so came to your register? And I was like, oh, she was talking mad shit on you. Like, mad shit. Like, so bad, she wanted you to die.
Ooh,
like,
ooh, one of them.
And she's like, oh, and I was like, so later that night, another cashier was talking to me about something. I was like, oh yeah, me and Delaney are probably going to go through, like, Taco Bell when we get off and whatever. And the girl kind of looked at me, and I was like, oh yeah, she's my younger sister, in case you didn't know.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Pretty much. I let it sit for like an hour where she thought she like got one over and was like got shit off her chest, and I was like, yeah, me and Delaney are probably gonna run through like Taco Bell after work, and she just looked at me. I was like, yeah, it's my little sister.
Yeah, you're fucked. That's hilarious.
I was like, that's my baby sister.
Ooh.
It's not even my older sister. That's my kid sister.
Ooh.
So like.
Ooh, let's dig that hole a little deeper.
Pretty much, but like it's funny because after that, I was still fine with that girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you know, do your job,
right?
And she wouldn't bitch at you.
Most definitely. So,
you know, I have very little problems with her. If she tells me to do something, I'm gonna go do it. Like, she's technically my supervisor.
Right.
Doesn't matter if she's my younger sibling. Whatever. I'm here to do a job. Like,
right.
When we leave work, and she could have bitched me out an hour ago, but when we leave work, it doesn't matter. Like, we were at work, so whatever.
100%. And I think that's definitely a great way to segue into the back end of the question I asked you previously, which was, so I asked you about your best memory. So now, if you can, do you mind sharing about your worst memory? You know, whether it's...
that was at this job, too.
At Piggly Wiggly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Please do tell.
So, basically, this coronavirus has everybody freaking the hell out.
100%.
Which, understandable, I get it. However, there's, like, three. One of which didn't happen to me, but I heard about it the next day, and it was like so ridiculous that I could not stand myself.
Okay.
So I'll tell that one, and then I'll tell mine.
Okay.
So the one that happened was this African American gentleman came in and was standing back at the meat counter, talking to the butcher that I'm friends with. So that's how I found out about it, because he called me after work and was like, "You're not gonna fucking believe this." I was like, "Okay." Our store manager is like a 30-something-year-old white man.
Okay.
And he looks like he's in his 20s. So he looks super young, but he's
right.
actually not. But he looks like a kid still.
All right.
And he's this little beanpole. So somebody in the near vicinity of this gentleman decided to clear their throat. And this gentleman immediately goes into, like, hysterics and, like, get the fuck away from me, you fucking sick fuck, blah, 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 blah. Like, freaking the hell out to the point that it caught my store manager Bobby's attention, who came over and was like, "Sir, you need to calm down." He's like, "I don't have to do shit," and blah, 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 and you get the fuck away from me, and did that. Like, he had to call the police. This man escalated so much.
Because somebody fucking cleared their throat.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, this virus has people losing their fucking minds. So that was hysterical. But then, well, it was funny because I wasn't there.
Right.
And I didn't have to deal with it. But then, I have a big I have a history of, like, domestic violence and shit like that. So, like, stuff like that really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was at the register the one day, and this woman and her, I guess, husband and their kid came in. And their kid... really seem, because I've seen them before, their kid's very, like, very loud, very, like, moving around all the time, very, like, shushily. So, like, I don't know if he has, like, ADHD or he's just very, very hyperactive.
Yeah. All
the time, which I get can be frustrating as a parent. However, they came in and he was, like, saying something or whatever, and the dad, like, literally, like, grabbed him up by the freaking, like, back of the neck and, like, ripped his own belt off and was, like, chasing his kid around with it, like, cussing at him and shit. And I was like,
oh my God.
So I like went over to my manager. I was like, I need to go outside for a minute. And she's like, are you crying? And I was like, I don't deal with this shit.
Right.
So I need a minute. And she's like, okay. I actually had a woman like cuss me out so bad she made me cry at PetSmart because I worked at PetSmart too before this. Because the cat food cans that I was ringing up were ringing up wrong.
Right. So obviously that's your fault.
Oh yeah, because I definitely was the one that did the ordering and the
Right.
pricing on the computer system.
Most definitely.
That was my job, of
Right.
course. Yeah, and they were off by 10 cents.
Oh yeah, that's world ending. You should know that. How dare you?
Oh yeah.
How dare you?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fucking bitch,
Yeah,
man.
pretty
I
much.
tell you.
And of course, it was this woman. It was this woman, and I get like, because she would come in like once a week and fill her cart with like cat food cans, fill the whole fucking cart. And she always brought her own bags, and I like never wanted to wait on her because when I worked at PetSmart, I was pregnant with Alex.
Okay.
So you know that your sense of smell is like very heightened when you're pregnant anyway. So she always brought her own bags, and this bitch must have had like 80 fucking cats because those bags smelled so fucking badly of cat piss.
Oh my god.
And she smelled like she hadn't bathed in a year, and she was just a fucking cunt. The entire time we waited on her, she was like, you need to stack it back in the cart this way, and you need to put the cans this way, and blah, blah, blah. Are you stupid? And like, she was a fucking bitch, and I hated her. To the point that, like, after that incident, when I would see her start to walk up to the register, I would say I had to pee and leave.
And just deuces.
So that the other person had to take care of her, and I didn't need to deal with her anymore. It was that bad.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, the fact that she was A, that rude, B, stunk that badly, and C, had, like, imprinted on you that badly that no matter what you were doing, it wasn't good enough for her. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, ugh. So, it's really awesome. Like, my next two questions you've actually already answered, which is fantastic. You know, I love it, and I'm having a great time. It's funny that you've already answered them, though, so that really brings us up to, you know, the last question of the podcast. Really is how I end every single one of my shows, where I try to end it on, like, an inspirational or, like, an uplifting moment. So, since you are currently you are still working, correct? You said yes?
Yep, essential employee.
Fantastic. So, since you are out there and you are dealing with this shit just like me and so much, just like so many other people, if you could say anything to really help people get through to, you know, whether it's get through their day, get through to their break, or just even that fucking hour, you know, where there's people, again, overreacting because somebody's clearing their throat, or, you know, something that happened to me the other day, because, you know, we have to wear the face masks now, and
oh yeah,
I'm wearing these masks 10, 12 hours a day. So by you know, hour 7 to 10, there's like spots on it from where I'm sweating and everything. So of course, you know, I'll want to take it off and like wipe my face down a little bit and like re-sanitize. You know, not that I'm not sanitizing all, but you know what I'm saying, like kind of give my face like a breather here. So then like people would like, I've had a lady saw spots on my mask and like, she's like, oh, well, that's clearly signs that you're sneezing. I'm taking my children and leaving your store. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I
think people are just literally going crazy. I think it's like mass hysteria right now because you see all this shit on the news.
Yeah, and you don't know what to believe. Well, how is it? How can you?
I think it's not about what they're telling us. I think it's about what they're not telling us.
Exactly. How the fuck can you
trust?
There's
a lot of shit that we still don't know.
Exactly. How can you trust the news when some of the sources they're getting it from, like the World Health Organization, has changed their policies on it, like what it does, what the virus is, at least 5 different times. They have changed it. First, it was not like you couldn't get it from person to person. Then it wasn't able to transfer in the air. Then it was you couldn't get it from touching surfaces. Then you could. Then you couldn't. It's like you're the World Health Organization. It is literally in your fucking name to have your shit together. But yet...
And you don't even know what the fuck's going on.
No, not at all. Not at all. But yet there's fucking proof that this shit is coming from a certain area in China, Proof.
Hmm.
100% proof. But yet, because China gives them so much money, they're not talking about it.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Bullshit.
well, it's just like anything in politics and
Yeah.
news and whatever. Everyone gets paid. Everyone has a fucking price.
Yeah. And that's bullshit.
Everybody
100%.
has a price.
But anyway, getting back to what I said, what if you could say to anything to the people that are out there like you and me, and even further than that, the people that are doing worse things, like people that are ENTs and doctors, what would you say to really help get people through this?
I think the first thing I would tell them is this isn't going to be forever. Eventually, it's going to end. So just hold on to that. And I think also you have to repeat. I mean, it's my mantra almost
Mm-hmm.
every day when I'm having like a shit day with people. Is I just repeat to myself, it's just a bad day, not a bad life. Like, it's just a bad day. It's not a bad life. Like, you're going to get through it. Stuff's going to get better. I mean, that's just life. Shit gets bad and then shit gets better again. You just have to wait through the bad shit to get to the good shit.
So essentially, what you're saying is it's a waiting game. Don't let the bad shit now ruin your life later.
Exactly. I mean, there's tons of moments in your life where you're going to laugh until you pee your pants or be so happy that you do like a jig or
Mm-hmm.
just get to sit and watch a sunset that's so beautiful you want to cry or whatever. And do you really want to miss those because you're feeling bad right now?
Right. And that's
Look at all the shit you might miss out on.
yeah, that's fucking powerful. Thank you so much. That's everything I have for you. I've really, really enjoyed having you on the show, and I'm grateful we were able to do this. So again, Tiff, thank
Heck
you
yeah,
so much for
finally.
coming. Hell yeah! So please, if you had fun, make sure you let people know and let them know if they've got, even if they want to spend 40 minutes, complaining. That's fine. I'll take everybody. You want to come on and just complain for 40 minutes? Please come on. I don't care. I've had a couple interviews with people I've never even met face to face, and I've had blast talking with them. So again, thank you so
Well,
much for
hell yeah,
coming.
I'll send some people your way.
Yes, please. Like, tell them how to get a hold of me, and I will literally make time to have people on. I mean, getting you on is a
Okie
testament to
doke.
me making time. Um,
Yeah.
so, everybody out there listening, again, this was episode 19, I believe. Yeah, 19. So, everyone out there, please continue following the show. Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing for us. We're almost at magic number 50. Remember, 50th subscriber is getting a $10 gift card from me for Amazon. So keep the word spreading, and this is just a call out. Anybody listening, if you want to come on, get a hold of me. I'll make it happen. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and don't forget to like and subscribe.